My picture's not there.
Is Kevin here?
I don't see him.
Are we being recorded live on RCTV?
I don't know what they're doing on.
I don't
Why don't you, if you give me a second, there were 4 of us that were on the recalc meeting right up until 6:15. Kevin was one of them. Amy was another. Mark Doxer was another.
Okay.
I grabbed a quick can of soup. I don't know what the 3 of them did, but they certainly need a little bit of time.
Okay, no problem.
Mark's here. No soup for me.
What did you get, a pizza instead?
No, I'm going to eat afterward.
My goal is a really quick meeting tonight, so hopefully you won't be hungry for long.
Awesome. Oh,
Is
sorry.
Kevin, do you know, is Kevin behind the RCTV Studios one?
I think
no.
I asked him originally because I wanted the sessions recorded, and he did find a way to do it, but he had been talking with RCTV, so they're going to record it.
Kevin is driving right now, but he'll join as soon as he can, as soon as he gets home, because we held him a little bit late in our first meeting.
Okay. 1, 2.
Sorry, my camera's not working at the moment.
I would imagine Amy's heading home as well.
So it wasn't remote, huh? It was in person.
It was hybrid.
Hybrid.
Wow.
Everyone's there.
Remember the party line is we're still waiting for approval.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I apologize. I'm covering for Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that you, Amy?
Hi, Kevin. It's me. Hi. We apologize for being a few minutes late. We were in another meeting and it went a little over.
We understand. No problem at all.
Mark, you're quick.
Amy, I trust you're the block that says Pleasant Street Center.
I think I am. Yes, it is.
Okay.
The camera on. I don't know why the camera isn't on, which is fine because I don't think it's been a long day. Yes, I am Pleasant Street Center. And I'm usually on my personal, the personal laptop. So it's going to say Pleasant Street Center. But as long as you guys can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So should we wait a few more minutes to see if anyone?
If others don't mind, let's give Kevin a couple of minutes to join us.
So Kevin is on his way home. He's driving. He lives, he also left the meeting a little bit late. So he lives about half hour, 40 minutes away.
Okay, so Kevin might be significantly late.
Yes. So I'm covering for him in the beginning and going to start it off. So bear with me, please.
No problem.
He lives up in the Chelmsford area, I believe. So that is a bit of a ride.
Yes.
Especially with the traffic at this hour.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got a quorum. We've got Joan, John, Karen, Sandy, myself, and Nancy are full members. Jackie, I think we ask this every single month. Are you an associate or a full member? Which? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm an associate.
Okay. But that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which I believe is all we need for a quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, there are 10 members in theory. I don't know if Kevin assured me that this time he would reach out to Sally and find out if she still wanted to be a full member or not. I hope that he reports that he was able to follow up on that and get that straightened out. And John,
he did, but I know I'm going to let him. I'll let him respond to that. But I did know that he did.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And John, you were going to try to reach out to Brenda Cashman. Any luck?
Yeah, she sent her resignation in. Well, actually, I picked it up at her house. I brought it to Kevin, and Kevin was going to bring it to Laura.
Excellent. Not that I want to get rid of Brenda, but clearly this is not something she.
Well, she never came to one meeting, so.
I know. Clearly this was not her cup of tea, and it just will help get the role accurate. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and convene the meeting then, because Kevin could be another 10 minutes or so. Is there anyone behind RCTV Studios? Is there a human there? Or are we on TV? Or does anyone know? Or are they just recording for us?
I think we
That
might be
same-
on-
That's the same thing was there during the recount meeting, so.
Yeah, I think that it will be taped and shown on RCTV.
Well, if no one else objects to it, I'm fine with it. It
Okay.
would be nice to know if we're broadcasting. Not that it matters if they're going to record it.
Is anyone close to a TV? We can put it, I'm not right in front of the TV. We can check.
Yeah,
I think
well,
it's-
just, let's say we are live and go forward from there.
All right. Well, I'd like to convene the meeting then at 6:36 tonight. And I will begin by taking the roll, and I'll just read through it. Jackie Behenna?
Here.
Yep. Barbara Carney? Nope. Nope. Joan Coco?
Yeah.
Jolyn Eck?
Nope.
Karen Fontino?
I
Nope.
don't see her either.
Sally Hoyt? Nope. John Parsons?
Here.
Karen Panett?
Here, and we are,
Pardon me?
I said, I'm here and we are being broadcast on TV.
Oh, wow. It's our debut. This is
Good
exciting.
to know. Yeah.
Sandy Schaefer?
Here.
Marilyn Shapley? Here. Debbie Small? And Nancy Zimlak?
Here.
Great. So turning to our agenda, the first order of business is the acceptance of the minutes from November. Did everyone have a chance? They were in the packet. Did everyone have a chance to read them?
No.
Any changes that are requested? No? Then I think we can approve the November minutes. And thank you, Nancy, for your excellent note-taking.
You're welcome.
Ongoing business, Elder and Human Services update. Amy, can you bring us up to speed on that, please?
Sure.
Wait a minute. I think we need to vote on the minutes.
Okay. Pardon me. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Oh, I've got to call the roll if we're doing a vote. Hang on. Back to the roll. But this is just the members now that I need to call. Joan Coco,
Yes.
John Parsons,
Yes.
Karen Panett,
Yes,
Sandy Schaefer,
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley, yes, and Nancy Zimlak.
Yes.
So,
And I noticed that Karen just joined us, Karen Fontino.
oh,
And Debbie Small's coming on too.
all right, thank you. And Karen, you're a member, so have you had a chance also? We have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes from November, and it's been seconded, and we were just doing a roll call vote. Did you have a chance to look at it, and would you like to vote?
So I wasn't at the meeting last month.
Okay.
So you'll abstain then from the vote?
Yeah, so don't I have to be present in order to
No, you're
accept them as
just,
correct?
you're just
Oh, okay.
accepting the minutes. Or not
Okay.
accepting the minutes.
Okay,
And Debbie,
and I accept.
okay, and Debbie Small has arrived now as well.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay. We're just talking about the minutes from November. We've had a motion to accept them, which has been seconded, and I was just doing the roll call vote. Did you have a chance to look at them?
I did.
Great.
Yep,
You
I accept the minutes.
Great.
Yes.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. Okay. We've all eyed. I think we're all set on that. Thank you. All right. Now we can go on to Elder and Human Services update. Amy, could you bring us up to speed, please?
Okay, sure. And again, I apologize. The camera is not on, so I can see everyone. So for the Elder Human Services update, numbers have still, people have been coming to, classes are still full. We were closed, as everyone knows, for a week and a half. We've been cautious. We're trying to reinforce the mask wearing and keeping socially distanced. And it seems to be okay for a few days. And then we'll just have to remind people, which is fine. You know, we also want to make sure that we are happy to have people come out and we want to make them feel welcome. And so it's been very busy. We're going to be doing well, first of all, getting to, I think we met with Harrow's, but both the Hillview went very well. It was Kevin and I who gave out 200, and I think it was 200 to get the final number that they ended up doing. They had extra, and this was my first year of seeing it in action. I couldn't believe it. It was a well-oiled machine. They had the whole room filled, like packed, filled with everyone that was in a different station. They were putting all the bags together, and the police were there all ready to go. So it was went really well. You know, a lot of people, we got many calls and thanks, and some people, you know, were disappointed that we couldn't meet in person. So hopefully next year, we're keeping it optimistic. And the Harrows went very well. And the tin bucket that we were originally going to do, we ended up pushing back just because of COVID and because of people getting sick. And also without having a receptionist right now in the morning, that has been a definite challenge. Kelly is officially in Maria's old role as the senior center coordinator. So we are trying to get the job posted and making sure that we're going to be, you know, hopefully moving forward in that regard. What else? So we're going to push the tin bucket hopefully back. We're thinking either January or February and making it a Valentine's type thing.
Nice.
Yep. And then we had a couple ideas, which I think, Marilyn, I wouldn't share them now, right?
We've got budget requesting funds down under new business, if that's what you're
Okay.
So why don't you wait till then?
Sure. And I think that is pretty much it. Just for doing a couple holiday things.
Right. Last month, you and Kevin had reported that you were having the remember the name of the company that everyone signs in with their little tag when they go into the senior center, and you were going to collect the report off of that, learn how to run the report that would give you the attendance statistics by activity.
Yes.
Were you able to meet with them?
We got one it's a little outdated. I have to get you a new one. I attended a seminar for them, and it was not what I expected. I thought that they would be going over, so it was more advanced. So I need to get a more updated report, and I need to learn how to do so. So I'm going to try to either call them directly and just have them walk me through it. But because, to be honest, I've been sitting at the front desk about 3 to 4 times a week.
No, I understand. The staffing situation.
So it's been but yeah, it has. And, but I definitely will give out a report and let you guys know, but I can promise everyone that it has been at capacity, if not over capacity.
Thank you. And when you say it's at capacity, is this a COVID environment reduced capacity, or are we up to the level we used to be pre-pandemic? Do you know?
I don't know the factual information, but from what people are telling me, games are especially over the limit, like bigger than they ever were before.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing. Like bingo used to be 12 to 14, and today they were close to 20. And I think the other, like I know when cribbage first started, and Joan, you can mention, I don't know the final amount today because I was downstairs, but
Today there were 12. There was only 8 of us, but there's usually been 12.
12, yeah. And I think when we first had started it, it was around 3 or 4, or like 4 to 6.
Right.
So that's,
Right. Yep, it was. And I don't know
yeah.
whether we can really do much more than 12 in that room anyway, Amy.
No, yeah, you definitely can't. And so it's just, we've been, it's great, but it's still, people are getting scared. A lot of people are asking me what's going to happen with COVID. And my response is, I'm wearing a mask, so you can't see my reaction right now, but I said, I wish I could tell you, I wish I knew. We just have to be kind of in compliance. We had met with the new public health director, who is great. And he had mentioned before that maybe they could write something signed from the public health to mandate the mask wearing. And then when we had asked him again, he said that he couldn't. So, we just have to be kind of forthright and just, we wear many, many hats and just to gently remind people, I know it gets old, and some people will tell me it is getting old. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to wear the mask. And there's not a lot, other than they just want to hear that. One of them even said, if the governor doesn't say it, I'm not going to do it. It's like, okay, great.
Mark, do you have any input on this? I mean, what
Yeah, I was gonna. So no, I have no idea where it's going.
but
I wish you did, Mark. It'd be easier.
Yeah, it would be easier for a lot of us.
It's not so much where it's going, but who has the authority? I mean, the library
Board of Health
mandated masks.
Yeah,
Why
Board of Health.
can't others do it? And what we had heard was it had to come from the Board of Directors, and it sounds like for a moment in time that almost happened from the Board of Health. But now we're hearing, no, it isn't Board of Health. So does anyone know?
Board of Health. I think the Board of Health is the one that would make that decision. But Aday is now the health director, not the Board of Health. So advocating to the Board of Health, I think, is probably the right step. And I think they're the ones that really, are defined to be able to do that. Now, I don't know if they can do it for some places and not others. I'm not sure of that, although, the library does have it, but that's through the Library Board of Trustees. They took that vote. So I think that it's supposed to be left to the Board of Health.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that, Mark? The school committee voted to have the masks in the school. The library trustees voted to have masks in the library. What if the Council on Aging voted to have masks in the Pleasant Street Center?
Town council is my recommendation on that one. I don't know who has the authority. The Board of Health would, whether the Council on Aging does or doesn't. I remember someone highlighted that you have the executive capabilities, right? You're the executive group for.
We act as a board of directors to Elder and Human Services is the way it's worded on the website.
So you can bring it to, if you want, I'm happy to share the question with town council, or you folks can share it with town council directly.
What would be the most efficient thing to do?
I can zip off an email really quickly.
If you wouldn't mind, because we don't meet in January, and I would hate for this to languish, because it seems like there's inaction because no one knows how to make action happen, honestly. Not for a lack of interest. Yes, Nancy.
at our last meeting, we talked about this, and Kevin said, told us, no, we don't have the authority, but also said he would be willing to draft a letter to send to the Board of Health that the Council on Aging recommends wearing masks at the senior center. So I would like to make a motion that we enable Kevin to draft that letter and send it to the Board of Health with the support of all of the members on the Council on Aging.
I second
Anybody?
it.
All in favor?
Wait,
Sorry,
any
Marilyn.
discussion? Any
Oh,
discussion?
discussion.
But exactly what's the body of is the body of the letter saying that we would like a mask mandate at the Pleasant Street Center? Is that what you're saying, Nancy?
Well, Kevin wasn't specific about what would be in the draft, but I'm assuming, John, that that would be it. I mean, we could include that in the motion. I make a motion that Kevin sends a letter that the Council on Aging recommends a mask mandate for all people that participate at the Pleasant Street Center.
I second that motion.
Any discussion, anyone? No? Then I'll call.
There he is. Just
Kevin,
in time.
yay.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good timing.
We're in the midst of a motion to have you do something. We have give you a second to get seated here. Take your jacket off, take a breath.
All right.
We have been talking about the ambiguity over the decision-making process on requiring masks for the Pleasant Street Center. We've just had a motion to have you draft a letter to Nancy. You made the motion. Why don't I let you speak to it?
Okay. I make a motion that we delegate, I don't know if that's the right word, Kevin to send a letter to the Board of Health that states that the Council on Aging recommends a mask mandate for those attending activities at the Pleasant Street Center. Is that right, John? Is that what I?
Yeah, that's what I seconded.
Okay.
That was just, and we had no discussion. We're just about to call the roll. But since you've arrived, if there's anything you'd like to throw in for discussion on this.
No, I can do it. And again, it's going to be up to the board. You know, I think it'll be for them to discuss, and they're very data driven. And I think it's good to let them know your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me call the roll then on the members. Joan Coco? You're muted, Joan. You're muted, Joan.
Wait a minute.
There
Yes.
you go. Yes, thank you. Karen Fatino?
Yes.
Kevin, we're getting an echo now. Could you mute yourself? Because I think you're the source since we didn't have one before.
Well, Karen's mute too, yeah, Marilyn.
Pardon me?
Karen is mute too.
I thought I heard Karen say yes.
She
Oh,
did.
you did? Oh, down she did, yeah.
Okay. Then she muted herself again. John Parsons?
Yes.
Karen Panett?
Yes.
Sandy Schaefer?
I'm not sure. Don't you think that might discourage people from going to the senior center or the Pleasant Street Center if they have to wear a mask for the whole time they're there?
It's possible.
So I guess I don't go on.
Could we be, sorry, it's Amy, I'm just jumping in. Could we specify maybe during games or, you know, exercise the instructors? People have been good about wearing masks and they're spread out. But my concern is the games where people are at the tiny tables together, sitting feet apart in a small room. And just without a window open and it's cold, you know, I just want to make sure, because I hear people coughing and a lot of people are concerned. So we have people coming to us, the staff, saying, okay, they're coughing, what should I do? And I said, well, you have to use your, you know, as long as you have a mask on and protect yourself. I think that I would just, I think I would really say the games.
Well, I know when they have bingo, there's only 2 people per table. It's only 2 chairs.
There is, and the bingo's also the only games to have snacks. And today we had 2 spills on the floor. The food is just, it's getting a little concerning because people are, if they're not wearing masks and sitting close, and it's so easy to spread, and the numbers are still significantly high and increasing. We're going to have to kind of powwow and see what's the best way to keep everyone safe. Because
Amy,
yeah,
I would say a lot rides on you because you're going to be enforcing this. So
yes.
You want it to be easy for your staff,
Yes.
in order to enforce it. So if, you know,
and some of it is kind of, oh, sorry. Some of it is game time. Like, it depends on how many people show up or if we can open the windows. And, you know, if we have Elise, if the nurse is there, I'll even refer to her and just say, what are your thoughts? Or she'll go in, she's been making some announcements, but it's been tough because you don't know really, but you can't make anyone do anything. I never want to treat anyone like a child or have them feel like they're not welcome, because that is definitely not what we're doing. But I would also feel terrible if they got COVID at our place.
I'm sorry, Amy, go ahead.
That's okay, John. That's it. That's it for me right now.
It's kind of my opinion that if one group has to and another group doesn't, like it's the bridge people would wind up saying, well, they don't have to wear masks.
Exactly.
And the bridge group probably needs it more than anybody because you got 4 people around a small table.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard. It is hard. It's hard.
So I agree with Nancy's original motion that it's all activities at the Pleasant Street Center. And so far we have, I think, 4 votes in favor. And we've got other people to call.
But I made that motion with the thought that Amy supported it. And if Amy supports it as it was written, then I would support it. If Amy doesn't support it, because I want to support Amy.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I really appreciate that. I hope I'm gonna, you know, it's one of those things where I wish that I had a crystal ball.
I know, but here's the problem. It's like a yes or no. Do you want a mask mandate or not?
I know, and I go back and forth, and I like you, Nancy, I go to my staff and look for them for guidance, and I know that since one of them has had it, they are really afraid because the person who had it was so religious about wearing the mask and, you know, I mean, hand sanitizer, Lysol, everything, vaccines. So I would almost lean towards yes. I mean, and then if someone obviously has breathing issues and need to take breaks, I mean, we're just going, look at the CDC, like almost like every other day. And to see the numbers, it's a little scary.
Well, with the numbers increasing the way that they are, the alternative is the center is going to be closed down because you're going to have it spread, and then you're not going to have a choice. No one's going to be able to come.
You're right, Karen. You're absolutely right. That's what we've been saying to them. We're like, all right, so if someone gets sick, we're going to have to close anyway. So what do you want to do? And what do you think, Kevin?
Well, I just have a clarifying question. So I just want to make sure that that everything has already been done that you possibly could before we even, I should have asked this before we voted, before we consider a mandate, that you have done everything on your end to help promote mask wearing, that you're making them available and you're encouraging people to wear them at the door. Because I think that would be the first step before we start mandating people, is to make it available and to strongly encourage them. And has that already been happening?
Yes, we have. I'm going to try to sign on my phone so I can get the my camera on, because I'm nodding my head yes, Karen, as you're talking. We have done signs, multiple signs. We got it laminated and it was pulled off the door. We have had reminders, put it in the pleasantries, have them put it in the town hall. Elise has gone to literally every single class and program and has spoken to people about it. And, you know, some people, we've seen definitely an increase and people have been better about it. But then, like I said, it lasts like 3 or 4 days after the week when we were open. It was great. Everyone was diligent, and then it kind of goes downhill. So we're in kind of a rock and a hard place, because I totally get it. It's not easy.
Could I interject something again too? Last week at either last week or the week before at Bridge, we were told the students are coming in from Austin Prep to decorate the center. So it's important that we all wear masks. And guess what? 15 out of 16 all of a sudden had masks on. So,
yeah.
So it's not that much of a hardship for them to do it. It really isn't.
Yeah. And like I find if I'll say something to some people and it won't be a problem at all, but then, you know, it really depends on the situation, on everything. Like I've had people, only a few people have flat out said no. And my approach is, I said, okay, I said, well, can you at least distance yourself? And I'm going to open a window. And this was at a game. It was last week. And she said, no. And she was, I'm done. I said, okay. And then Elise was there, and Elise came in the room and she said, well, then maybe her response was, you know, if you're choosing not to wear it, then what if you get sick? So kind of putting it back on them, you know. It's been a challenge kind of every day to deal with it.
And I don't want to say we've been lucky that no clients have
yes,
that we know of have tested positive. I'd like to say that we've worked very hard to keep people safe. And I mean, the staff has done that from day one. And the you know, you question the sign. We had a 3-foot sign on the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one that Amy mentioned was torn down. So I mean, we are flat not out of this thing yet. And if we can keep people safe till we finally turn the corner, then we just, whatever we can do to keep people safe is, I'm all for it.
At the federal level, it certainly seems like the advice gets stronger every day in favor of masks for now. They're not saying forever. They're saying people, I believe, over 60 shouldn't be traveling in mass transit unless they absolutely have to. And the reason is exposure to other people. We're certainly just as close to each other in the Pleasant Street Center. They're saying for things like, you know, holiday gatherings, if there are people that you're uncertain about, they should get tested before they join. Amy, you have terrible feedback. Could you close?
Sorry.
We lost
Apparently she
the
was very
video. It just seems like prevailing wisdom is that it's wise to be cautious right now. It's getting worse every day.
I read an article in the Globe today, and the headline was, without a state mask mandate, we're fighting the virus with one arm behind our back.
Hmm.
And I feel that way.
Yes, Nancy.
I guess after listening to this discussion, I stand by my motion. And there may be a few people, as Amy says, that don't want to wear the mask, but it sounds like there are a lot of people wearing the mask. So I'm going to vote yes, supporting those people that are wearing the mask.
And I move the question, although I'm not sure if that's even necessary since we're halfway through the vote.
I know.
We're voting on the motion as it was originally stated. I'm not clear, Nancy, on whether you were restating.
I didn't change it.
Okay.
I just stated my reason why I would vote for it.
Okay. I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, and we were up to Sandy, and you were concerned that there are people who may not come, which led to the discussion.
Right, but the question's been moved.
Oh, yes.
No, the question's been moved. I'm asking for Sandy's vote.
Okay.
What?
I'm asking for your vote, please, Sandy, on
Yes.
the motion. Yes, thank you. Marilyn Shapley, it's me, vote yes. Debbie Small,
Yes, yes.
and Nancy Zimlek.
Yes.
All right, then it's unanimous. We will ask Kevin, again, Nancy, please, if you'd stated it was your motion. I don't want to misstate it.
I think that the Council on Aging members delegate Kevin to send a letter to the Board of Health in support of a mask mandate at the Pleasant Street Center. Is that?
My only question is whether earlier you had said that he drafted as opposed to actually send it.
Oh, I don't know. Did I say draft?
I think you said draft the first time. Would you like to amend it to say send it?
Oh, but then do we have to vote again?
It will only take a second, unless we're going to have another discussion, which if people would like, we can. But if you could amend it.
Okay, I make a motion that Kevin send a letter to the Board of Health because the Council on Aging is supporting a mandate.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Let's go through the roll again one last time, or as many times as we need. But anyway, Joan Coco.
Wait a minute. Yes.
Thank you. Karen Fotino.
Yes.
Thank you. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, it's Fotino.
Fotino. Thank you. John Parsons.
Yes.
Karen Panett.
Yes.
Sandy Schaefer.
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley. Yes. Debbie Small.
Yes.
And Nancy Zimlek.
Yes.
So ordered. We have agreed. We're unanimous. Thank you, Kevin, in advance for taking care of this.
Can do.
I can help you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone.
All right. And thank you, Amy, for your report.
I hope this doesn't preclude Mark also asking the question of the town council.
The question Kevin was going to ask of the town council, I thought, had to do with the council's authority.
The authority of the council, yes.
Right, that's a separate thing, but yes.
Yes, Mark was going to, I just hope Mark hasn't decided that we don't need to do that now.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And Kevin, just to bring you up to date, Amy explained that statistics are coming. And Kelly is now the senior center coordinator, and the receptionist is when will the receptionist position be posted?
When it's approved.
Yeah.
What has to happen to get that approved?
The HR director needs approval from the town manager to post it. It's still being worked in the budget process.
Can I make a motion that the Council on Aging send a letter to the town manager requesting that this position be posted because it's causing undue hardship to all of the staff at the Pleasant Street Center.
I second.
As far as discussion, I'd like to ask Kevin and Mark, or either one could probably answer the question. Since this was an existing position, why is there such a hullabaloo about getting it posted? I mean, it's not like it's a new position.
And why is there any budget issue? It's budgeted for. Where are they planning to spend the money if not on this?
And we're just replacing somebody, that's all.
Yes.
The clerk position is actually not in the Elder and Human Services budget. The clerk position is in the administrative portion of Gene Delios's Public Services Department's budget.
But nevertheless, it was approved. And if Carrie hadn't left, not Carrie, if Maria had not left, we would be fully staffed and there was budget for it. What's the issue here?
All I can say is, all I know is that it's still waiting for approval to be posted. I can't answer your questions, unfortunately,
Okay.
because I don't know. It's not because I'm hiding anything.
I understand. It does not seem acceptable, and I guess I'm particularly sensitive to this because, frankly, I'd have to say that the Pleasant Street Center was victimized for the year. We had to wait for them to post the director, or Amy's position. I don't know your exact title on that. Again, we know that budget was there because we went to town council and we were assured it was there, and they sat on it for a year. And I don't know where that money went. I'm not suggesting it went to some ill-gotten activity, but it didn't go where it was budgeted to go. And the Pleasant Street Center suffers for this terribly. And we have people who are working late at night, getting sick, you know, working their hearts out for people who are very fragile. And I just don't see how it can be conscionable to anyone to not fill the basic staffing needs.
The budget process is in the works right now. Gene
But that's
Delios,
for 23.
right? Gene Delios is presenting to the select board tomorrow evening.
But that's for 23. What we need to know about tomorrow?
Again, I'd like to make a motion that the Council on Aging send a letter to the town manager to request that this position be posted and filled, and it's causing undue hardship on the staff over at the Pleasant Street Center.
Seconded. Discussion,
For
anyone?
a suggestion,
Yes, Mark.
what if you send it to both Gene Delios and the town manager, both of them? Because if it's Gene's budget, then you're expressing your desire for it to move ahead, and certainly to the town manager as well.
Yep.
Should we send it to the select board as well? I mean, these, after all, are people that you people hire.
So, I mean, you can send anything you want to the select board, but we would, that's an issue that definitely is handled through staff. And the posting and approval certainly is a staff activity. So you can feel free to copy us, but I think that with Gene and Bob, you're reaching the people that are making the decision and the timing.
I like that idea, Marilyn, though, because it certainly makes it a public record, more of a public record. It goes to the select board. It gets into their packet, maybe. And no, it doesn't. but
it gets our attention.
Yeah, but I do like the idea of it going to, so do I have to amend my motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I amend my motion that the Council on Aging send a letter to the town manager and Ms. Delios and CC the select board members and blah, 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 blah. Do I have to repeat?
What you said before.
It's what I said before.
When you say the Council
I
on
said,
Aging,
what?
when you say the Council on Aging will do this, do you mean that this is a letter I'm writing?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say that the Council on Aging, so you represent the Council on Aging in the public domain.
Right. No, I just want to be clear because we asked Kevin to do the other one. I just wanted to be clear in your
Yeah.
motion who's doing what.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do it.
And CC all the Council on Aging members. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It is. It's just unconscionable. And again, I'm not inclined to be very understanding given that this, frankly, it's a stunt and it was pulled when Amy's position was left empty for a year. And we know the budget was there then because we went to town meeting and we were approved of the budget. And we were assured by the town manager the money would be protected. And it certainly was because it never got spent on anything that was related to the Pleasant Street Center. It's just not acceptable.
Can I move the question myself or does someone else have to?
Which question?
The motion.
The motion.
So
You
we
can
vote.
move it and I seconded it.
I moved the motion.
You,
All right,
I
okay.
still got to move it.
I'll second it. Do we have any other further discussion? All
I don't
right.
think you can have discussion after a motion's been moved.
Yes,
Isn't that
you
correct,
do.
Mark?
That's when you have the discussion.
That's right. That's when you should have the discussion. Once it's moved and seconded, then you open it for discussion. When the discussion closes, then you take the vote.
All right. Discussion will close on that one then, and we'll vote once more on the new motion. Joan Coco? We can't hear you, Joan.
Because I was muted. Yes.
Thank you. Karen Fotino?
Yes.
John Parsons?
Yes.
Karen Panett?
Yes.
Sandy Schaefer?
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley? Yes. Debbie Small?
Yes. Yes.
And Nancy Zimlak?
Yes.
Great. So we're unanimous on that one.
Can I ask Mark a question?
Sure.
It seems to me that there was some way to end discussion, and I thought that was moving the motion.
So actually to play it by the rules, actually what should happen first is a motion gets made and then seconded. That opens discussion. And then when discussion is finished, then the chair closes the discussion. You don't need a vote for that, but then you go and you take the vote on what's going on. And what's happened in practice is people discuss things kind of before they make the motion, and then someone makes the motion. Then there should still be a chance for further discussion before you close.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I haven't been at town meeting for 20 years, so I guess I forget some of the stuff.
So town meeting works a little bit differently. So town meeting,
Yeah, you can say that again.
the starting point is a motion, right? Anything at town meeting starts with a motion. Without a motion, you can't have a discussion.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Nancy, for bringing that up and proposing that. It's just not acceptable that we can't be using the Pleasant Street Center to fund things that are for short of funds or nice to have elsewhere when it's been budgeted for the Pleasant Street Center. It's just not acceptable. Trying to think. No, I think that's it. I think we can go on to the outreach mailing. And Kevin, you had put this on there. I never did send out the copy of what we had proposed sending out and what we had been told we could put in the January census because it was cut off. But to fill people in, at the last meeting, we were told that we could put a flyer, an outreach flyer in with the census. And Nancy and I spent a great deal of time drafting a 2-page flyer that basically summarized all the services that are available in elder services, and most importantly, contact information, with the hope this would go, with the expectation it would go to every household with the census. We submitted it, Mark saw it, and the feedback Mark gave us was, "This is great." I believe I'm quoting you correctly on that. And then Kevin and Amy had it as well, but we got the message back that it had gone up the ladder of review, and the opinion was no, not at this time. Kevin, I don't know if you can enlighten us on what happened. You're muted, Kevin. You're muted, Kevin.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. As we've had to do so many times during this pandemic, we pivoted. I think back in, was it November? I said, yeah, let's, okay, we can do some more outreach. And that's when the numbers started going south. That's when we had to close the center for a week and a half. That's when the position at the front desk still wasn't filled, and everything's still getting harder. And let me use the analogy: if you want to have if you own a company and you want to have a sale, you better be able to satisfy the customers. And my feeling is right now, with everything that is going on, to do all this outreach and not be able to provide the quality service that I think everybody at the center wants. Now is unfortunately just not the time to do it. Every day is a battle, and I know just as the VSO, when I was the VSO 100% of the time, when I go out and do outreach, it would get to the point where I couldn't provide the services that I wanted to provide. And I appreciate all the work that you did to prepare that. It brought a lot of different things together, and there's definitely going to be a time and a place for it. But right now, I really very strongly feel that now is not the time to do it. Let's turn the corner on this pandemic. Let's get our staffing up to where we need to be, and then bring all the people in if we can.
I've got two comments on it. One is that the flyer is not just about the center, nor is that the scope of the Council of Aging or Elder and Human Services scope. It also includes all of the service programs, the social work programs, Elise, the nurse advocate. These are not Pleasant Street Center.
They absolutely are. They're the staff that's had to bear the brunt.
But they're independent in the sense of the center. They're an obligation to the community that we've bought in to as a community. And this is also a catch-22, because the reason we're so short-staffed is because the town chooses to force us to be short-staffed, not because because of the pandemic, are short-staffed. It's got nothing to do with it, frankly. The other issues, I don't belittle the pandemic, and I know the stress you're under, and I'm not out to swamp the Pleasant Street Center, but this goes round and round, because then people say, oh, look, there aren't that many people who come to the center. We don't necessarily need it. And we talk about the 1,000 or so that we're aware of that set foot on it. In the meantime, we've got 6,000 in the absence of any outreach program. It's not just some more outreach. I'm sorry, it's been 2 years since we have done any outreach in a systematic way. And so 6,000 of those 7,000, as far as we know, don't even know these programs exist. I meet people all the time that have no idea. Didn't know there was a Pleasant Street Center, didn't know there was a Council on Aging, didn't occur to them to look on a town website for it. They're just entering their 60s and not part of the network yet, and they just don't know. And we go round and round on this. If we're, not comfortable telling people about the programs that we're offering, that to my mind screams for more budget. And that will get down to in new business. I'm hoping we can be talking about the budget, because I think recalc is wonderful, but it's a long-term plan, and the pandemic is not likely to be gone in the next 2 to 3 years. And we're not serving the bulk of people who are over 60 in this community if we're afraid to even let them know the programs exist. It's just not right.
I agree with you, Marilyn, and I find it very disappointing that the town manager and the town clerk vetoed the idea of including the Council on Aging flyer in the census mailing. It was very disappointing. So that's all I'm going to say on
it. It didn't go to the town manager. Jean Delios and I met regarding it, and I also met with Laura Gem, the town clerk. And as I said, we want to provide a service top notch. And right now, a phone call that used to be 2 to 3 minutes, phone calls since the pandemic started are 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. They're just, and the staff has been compassionate, they've allowed people to talk. They understand that people are socially isolated, and to bring in more, we just won't be able to provide the service that people will expect, and I would expect of the staff.
Maybe we should revisit.
Could I ask a question too? I'd like to ask Amy. Amy, with the people you have now and how much work you have now, do you really think you could take on much more?
Honestly, not until we have another position. Not until we have that front desk seems to be the
So
missing
it's a resounding no.
And that's, the front desk is not, that's just a piece of the puzzle. I put an awful lot of this onto the pandemic. You know, I welcome everyone to come in and take part in a day in our life.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
you'll get a better idea.
No,
I
do understand that, Kevin. I don't mean to be harsh, but this has been going on for years now, and it's this cyclical. We can't support it, so we can't tell people about it. We don't, believe there's really a need because not that many come. It goes round and round and round, and somewhere we've got to start trying to serve all the people that we're supposedly supposed to be there to serve. And if we fall short, and again we don't have the statistics that show we're short. We need another survey. Well, it goes round and round. Somewhere we have to start letting people be aware and making an effort for outreach and start actively making plans to handle the flow if it happens. I mean, maybe there isn't a big need in those 6,000 other people, which would be wonderful if they're, taking care of themselves and having happy aging lives. That's great. But I have to believe, just from my own ad hoc experience meeting people, an awful lot just aren't even aware of what's available. And I don't understand how we cannot do basic outreach, even just once a year, to let people know. The town website has everything we put in there, but it's very hard to find the way the town website is designed. You pretty much have to know it's there in order to find it. If you were simply wondering what might be available, the town website's pretty tough to work with.
If I could say something again, I'd like to echo what Kevin said. I don't want to be harsh, but I think it would be great if everybody on the council could go down there someday and spend a day in their lives, like Kevin said. And I think it might open some eyes. That's, again, I don't want to be harsh, but I echo what Kevin said.
Yeah, no, I understand and I agree. I mean, when I first, frankly, was pretty upset to hear we weren't going to do this. And I talked with Amy, and it's just so clear that you're so stretched thin that, I don't want to break what we've got, and it's stretched to its limit. But we have to have a path out of this that doesn't just wait for recalc.
Sorry, it's Amy again. I completely get what you're saying too, Marilyn, and I know what Kevin and I have met about this so many times, but I think he is right. It's just not saying no, but the timing, and I agree 100%. Outreach is something that I love to do, and I've been doing that for a long time. So I feel like it is a disservice to the other seniors when I'm not putting in 100% or just quickly, checking in. And I feel like that's a lot to do with COVID. And I even said I sound like a broken record, but even during the day, the majority, I said we should, if I had a penny every time we said because of COVID or still, and it has to do. So don't get discouraged. It will happen, and it's going to be great when it does, and it'll be, we'll be able to make it better.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that the Council on Aging send a letter to Jean Delios requesting additional staff at the senior center in order to serve the population that it is mandated to cover.
Before we get to that motion, I noticed Karen Fatino had her hand up. I think maybe we should go back to whatever she was maybe wanted to say on the previous subject.
Karen, what would you like to say?
I just wanted to clarify, what is this letter that you're sending out and what is the purpose of it? Is it, at first I thought it was just a survey, but is this something like once you send out, you've done this before and you get a flood of people who go to the senior center after that? So I just want to know more about your process that you're talking
in
about.
the past, what they used to do was twice a year, they sent a full copy of pleasantries to every single home in Reading. And that was outreach. It was designed to create an awareness of programs. And they did it just twice a year. And it was a huge volunteer effort. And people were sitting like sparrows on a line next to each other, folding paper and putting stamps in. And it wasn't safe to do that when the pandemic broke out. And understandably, we had to discontinue it. What we've been proposing this year is that we do something as simple as even a postcard and mail that out. And the Council on Aging could pay to have that outsourced. So there'd be no safety issue and we'd still be able to reach people. So we've been doing 100% less outreach for the last 2 years. There's been none that I'm aware of that's been town-wide, and it's the norm to do that. And it's also part of the mandate of the Council on Aging is to do outreach. So we've offered, we will pay, we can outsource it, it will be safe, this is our job, it's the town's commitment to this part of the population. It couldn't be a more basic thing. There's no survey, it's just a concise summary of information. And we had drafted a postcard that was in last month's packet that we were proposing to have sent out by a mail house, printed and sent out, and we started the review process. And Kevin had been in discussion with Laura, the town clerk, and there was an option possibly to include it in the census mailing, which goes to every single household and would cost nothing. I mean, it was perfect. And it also created an opportunity to make a bigger one because we could put a full double, two-sided sheet of paper. And so Nancy and I had drafted one that summarized key programs, gave a lot of contact information, summarized things like the health benefits that we offer, the lifeline, things like that, and the medical transportation, lots of things. No one knows we've got it, and the money's just sitting there. And it doesn't happen in the Pleasant Street Center. There are lots of programs that are available. So it was really just a condensed form of what used to be a multi-page Pleasant Street Center, and it would have been for free.
Do you realize that the volunteers that were doing that before were mostly abatement volunteers who would probably be willing to do it because abatement volunteers keep going at this stuff?
I think the issue was the safety issue of having them do it, if I understand.
Then why wasn't there a safety issue when the abatement volunteers were working in town hall on the mailing on the ballots?
I can't answer that one. I remember Kevin bringing up that the safety issue, and I couldn't challenge that. I mean, if a bunch of people packed in a room didn't sound good to me. But the council, for a few $1,000s, I think it came to $5,000, was willing to send out this postcard to everyone instead. And it's just basic. We have a whole range of programs, and here are the contact numbers. And it took a move for the positive when we were told that we could put it in with the census, because that would cost nothing and contain more information. And now we got the decision back, no, not right now. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not out to swamp the Pleasant Street Center, but this is a cycle. We've got to find a way out of it. And we can't wait for recalc. And the pandemic is not going away in the next 6 months. I'm sorry. You don't need to be Fauci to see that.
I would just like to say that, so I think it's a great idea, but just to backtrack on what we just talked about how the COVID cases are going up and how we're mandating masks, and they're at least short a secretary. So I think it might be reasonable maybe to wait, to put this as a agenda item for next month and then revisit it or put it on the agenda for February and revisit it. Just because we're not sure what's going to to happen over the next month with this new variant.
We can do that. It's just, I think we need to have a goal in mind for having a plan B so that we can functionally serve this population going forward. And it probably, getting to the motion Nancy was about to propose, it requires more budget, which, you know, in this world where we've got budget and we can't get it spent is kind of silly sounding, but this is the reality. The needs of the senior center are being underestimated tremendously, as I think is where this is coming out, both the needs from the staff perspective and potentially, and as long as we don't talk to them, we don't really know the needs of the population. It's got to stop.
Again, I'll say everybody gets the pleasantries if you let them be sent out, and that doesn't cost. What you're suggesting?
Pleasantries cost, John. We used to pay for it. It cost a lot.
How much did it cost? We were using abatement volunteers. Abatement volunteers are paid by
No,
the
it was the
town.
mailing. It was the mailing, the printing and the mailing. It used to get printed, some print house in New Hampshire.
Printing doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't now? Okay.
No.
All right. But the mailing, it used to be a pretty big budget item. I'm almost wanting to say it was between $10,000 and $20,000 twice a year. It's
I'm sorry, Marilyn, how much?
I think it was between 10 and 20.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No.
No.
I don't think so either.
We did a bulk mailing
Every house?
license.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
it was going to cost for the postcard. It was going to cost a little bit under 5,000 or a little bit. It was around the 5,000, and that included the printing. So if you took the printing out and just did the mailing part, I think it was like around $3,000.
Okay.
Um,
So that's a postcard versus a 10-page.
Marilyn, it wasn't every household either. It was just every senior household,
Okay.
Oh,
but it was still 5,000 people.
Okay.
so Marilyn, I hear you. Outreach is so important. We are not saying no forever, but I like Karen's idea of let's move it out to February. Put it on the agenda in February. So much can change between now and February. Hopefully, it's for the positive, and we'll look at it then. If
I don't
that's
think there's much
acceptable.
alternative, frankly. I mean, I think it's the
yeah.
best we can, if we can commit to taking.
But it's keeping it on the table.
All right. And
All right,
Nancy.
I make a
Nancy,
motion that we revisit the mailing in February.
I'll just put it on the agenda.
Second. Okay.
I'm fine with it. Any discussion? Quick roll call, hopefully. Joan, Coco?
What do you want to know? The discussion or what?
If you
What am I
have,
voting for, Marilyn?
we're voting to put this item, the outreach on the agenda in February.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Karen Fotino,
Yes.
John Parsons,
Yes.
Karen Panett,
Yes.
Sandy Schaefer,
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley, yes. Debbie Small,
Yes.
and Nancy Zimlek.
Yeah.
Sound a little begrudgingly, Nancy. All right. I don't see what other choice we've got, frankly. But although we're coming still to discuss budget. All right, that's outreach. Did you have anything else to add to that, Kevin? You put it on the agenda.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Dementia-friendly Reading update. There was quite a bit of material in the packet. Who actually, Debbie, do you go to those meetings?
You know, they moved them to Mondays and I can't attend on Mondays. So I haven't been going to the meetings, unfortunately.
Okay, I understand. Kevin, do you go to them?
I didn't this morning. I believe just one item on that. I believe the select board was recently trained, and they are all now dementia-friendly friends.
Correct.
Great,
Correct. We even did the quiz and everybody passed.
that's great.
So I do sit on Dementia Friendly Reading also. And I was able to attend the meeting this morning. So did you say that there was a packet of information that you got, or?
No, the packet that Kevin sends out.
What I do is I include the minutes from the last meeting in the Council on Aging packet, which you should have received, I think, last Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't. So what we've been doing lately, so in November, we had the Light Up campaign. So the color purple, the purple lights, to remind people about dementia friendly through Alzheimer's Association. So the YMCA had some lights up, downtown had some lights up. The library did a really cute display. It was really great. And then we did the training for the select board and for the YMCA staff. They'd been trained in the past, but they've had a lot of turnover.
That's fabulous. Thank you. Any further discussion on dementia friendly at the moment? No? Okay. Recalc update. Some exciting news. Well, not that dementia friendly is not exciting, but this is big.
You want to take this, Mark?
I was going to have the vice chair take it.
I'm not the vice chair. It's John Sasso that's the vice
Oh, I'm
chair.
sorry. I get confused with my Johns. There are too many Johns. And
There's three Johns on the committee.
Everybody's named John. So just say John and somebody will do it.
Yeah, I know.
So I'll give a quick update. John, I invite you to see if you agree too. I think we had a really good start. I think, Marilyn, I want to kind of respond to one of the things you said. There was, as much as we're kind of looking, big picture need, there are some people on the committee who really want to see some short-term stuff take place.
Good.
Even in the form of renting facilities, if that's appropriate. So took a big step forward. There's another meeting still scheduled in December. We're going to have 2 meetings in December. We did approve town meeting approved a consultant to look into this idea of senior center, community center, to kind of follow up on the 2017 study, but not follow up on it, but to use that as the basis for things and talk about kind of what the community is looking for and to do some outreach. So the consultant would be hired to help with that process to bring in information. One of the points that I tried to make to the group is, hey guys, folks, excuse me, we need to look at both. We need to kind of have a plan. Where are we going to? But also what are the steps along the way? And I don't want to lose sight of the longer term issues, just kind of, I don't want to call them Band-Aids because it's not Band-Aids they're talking about at all. But I want to make sure that we think about a plan, and it's bigger than just a survey. It really is kind of understanding what's going on, seeing what best practices are, looking at other communities, understanding what appetite the community has, and then the ability for community members to both advocate and to look. We're going to have to get whatever it is through town meeting, and we need a lot of people to want to support it. Town meeting members, residents, everybody's going to have to come together on the thing to get it done. So I think people got it. And I think it's starting. The fact that there's a second meeting in December, I think is really wonderful. I was challenged we wouldn't get any in December, and we got 2, so that's pretty cool.
That's great.
So John O'Neill is the chair, and it turns out, by the way, that John O'Neill. So I know you have in the packet the was it NEVS? Sorry,
Mystic Valley Elder Services.
Right.
Yes. So he ran, I guess, the Cambridge and another area version of that.
Somerville. Cambridge.
Somerville. Thank you, John. And is a really smart guy who knows a lot. He knows the people. He knows the new head of MBES. He's the chair, and he grabbed the reins really strongly. It was fantastic. John Sasso, the vice chair, talked a lot about kind of the short-term activities and how they can help. And again, not stepping on toes, but hey, let's get to town meeting. Let's give a push on some stuff to get it done. And I thought it was a great first meeting. To John and Kevin, I'd encourage your feedback.
One thing that kind of stood out for me and it surprised me because I wouldn't have expected to get me thinking in that direction, or thinking somewhat in that direction. I know this group is for a senior center, and doesn't have a whole lot of use for multi-generational centers. But this particular person that Mark has referenced, John O'Neill, who was the chairman, he's done some study on this, and there seems to be a certain amount of credence to the fact that with these multi-generational centers, if people were going there in their 40s and 50s, they continue to go in there in their 60s and 70s and 80s. So that's given me something to really, really think about. That I went into this thinking, I want a senior center, I don't want anything else, and I don't want to hear about anything else. But now that's got me thinking, and maybe that'll get some other people who's on the screen right now thinking the same way. I'm not saying I'm convinced, but it's got me thinking about it. I thought it was an excellent point.
I thought it was a great mix and a lot of different ideas coming out. So I think it's, I thought it went well.
And folks, it's a public meeting. They'll all be public meetings, and anybody can attend by Zoom or in person.
When's the next one?
Can I ask you who's on it?
Next one is December 29th.
29th, thank you.
Can I ask who's on the committee?
John Parsons from here, John O'Neill, who we just mentioned, John Sasso.
Yeah.
John, no, not another John, just three.
Mike Coltman.
Yeah, Mike Coltman from Rec Committee. Ron Assini, who is another one of the residents who's on board, and he's a person who has not been to the senior center, qualifies, has a mom in Wakefield who doesn't use their senior center, and he's really engaged as a result.
And Betty Walsh.
Betty Walsh. I don't know if you folks know Betty Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Firecracker. She was great. Very strong opinions. She used to be a school committee member in town. She's lived in town, I think, for 50 years, roughly. Yeah, maybe even more. And very, very strong on stuff needs to get done now.
Okay. So how many people? 7?
7 total, right.
Yep.
And then Kevin was there. Gene Delios was there.
Amy was there.
Yep. And we did it hybrid. So we had, I guess there's 6 or 7 of us are in the room and 3 are online. I guess so maybe 6 in the room and 4 online.
If you want to watch it, RCTV did record, so you can go on their website and watch the recording if you'd like.
That's great news. It's very exciting. Thank you. We look forward to the updates. That's really exciting. It truly is. And I'm really glad to hear that you're also looking at the short term. Anything else in recal? Well, next item is MVES, and I had asked for that, and that came about because I'm a victim of misunderstood acronym, I think. I was Googling, and I saw on the web that what I thought was Mystic Valley Elder Services had undertaken a new huge outreach campaign, and they were rebranding and all these exciting things. And I wanted Brian Snell to come and speak with us about that. And I reached out to him and I spoke with him, and turns out it's not Mystic Valley, it's Merrimack Valley Elder Services that's done this. And same acronym, I guess, MVES. So my apologies. But he and I both agreed that, and it's a very busy season for him, we both agreed that there was not the need to go into a discussion of that tonight, unless anyone else has something about MVS they'd like to bring up tonight. Nope. Okay. New business. The budget for next fiscal year, where does it stand, and what has it got in it for cushion to help with the crisis we're facing on staffing?
Well, you tune in tomorrow night to the select board and you can see Jean talk about it. And it doesn't change a whole lot, but it's adding a few hours here and there.
doesn't sound like enough, does it?
Yeah. Can you be more specific about that, Kevin? Adding hours?
I don't have the budget. I haven't seen the final that Jean's presenting, so we'll all know more tomorrow night.
And so everyone is aware, so the budget gets presented first to the select board. The select board gives feedback. The town manager then kind of assembles all the feedback and puts together his budget. That budget then goes to the finance committee. The finance committee has their discussions and it becomes their budget at that point. They present it to town meeting and then it's up for approval at town meeting or amendment at town meeting.
When the town manager puts the budget together after listening to the presentations, is that a public document?
Everything is a public document, just to be clear.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So it can be requested.
So it's in the select board packet in terms of at a high level. The detail level will come out. It actually goes to the finance committee, and that's a public document with all the detail by person, by everything.
Okay.
I mean, not names,
So,
but the name of the role.
So if the Council on Aging members were interested in looking at the budget as proposed by the town manager to the finance committee, and we're looking for details about the money that's being requested for Executive Office of Human Service, or no, that's the state.
Yeah.
Then we would see it in that document.
You'll definitely see it there. You may want to take action sooner than that.
Okay.
So the town manager, I think, has to have his budget done for Feb 1, maybe late January. And if you've got some strong feelings on things, if I could suggest you, the more specific you are, the better. In other words, if it's like, we need another person to do X, Y, Z, that's probably more persuasive than, yeah, we just need more money.
Okay.
How about if we costed out something, and it's come up many times, why don't we rent the space that the library lived in temporarily? If we need a place that's allows more room for people to social distance, perhaps we could get plexiglass dividers set up like you'd see in any restaurant or any high volume kind of public place these days. And am I guessing that there's not budget for such a rental in the next fiscal year?
I'm sure that's the case. What I think, again, is going to be much more persuasive is we need certain things to, here are the things that we want to accomplish. We need space that will hold X number of people for 5 hours a day. And we'd like to see a budget go in for that.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't it require more staff if we had 2 buildings?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which we have enough staff now.
So I think there's kind of the conceptual need and push, and then there's the specific. And so Recalc is going to take on some of this. It sounds like there seems to be a real appetite to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one avenue to push. Another avenue to push, I think, is to let town staff know of kind of priorities that you're feeling. And again, I think it's much stronger to say, here's the need. I mean, the way the town manager has to go through the budget is everybody says they want more, and their decisions have to be made. Which ones make the most sense and why? The more kind of unknown things are, those are the harder ones to recommend taking forward. The ones that are clear, it's going to do this because those are the ones much more likely to continue to be in the budget that gets recommended to the finance committee. Occasionally there's stuff that goes beyond that. So last town meeting, or a couple town meetings ago, there was a real push on concerns about mental health in the community, resulted in town meeting pushing ahead of the town manager's recommended budget and funding a mental health professional. So I've never seen that before, but it happened last time.
Yeah. I would imagine that the town manager as well as Jean asked for input from her staff, correct? I would assume, Amy and Kevin, you've been asked for input into the budget.
Oop, you guys are on.
Whoops, Kevin, you're muted.
Here I go. Oops. So yes, I mean, we talked with Jean, and we discuss what's reasonable and what do we think we can get, and that's what we've asked for this time. And you know, if you look at the center again, space for staff. We just we just moved Amy into part of one of the game rooms, and you know, I know Jane's office was over at the town hall for as long as I was there. And we're just trying to have all staff under one roof. And as you know, there's not a lot of room.
I know. So I guess that's kind of, I think, what I was looking for tonight was you and Amy, exactly what is it that you are recommending that the EHS needs in terms of budget, and for what? But,
get a person down at the front desk.
Yeah, but that's not the 23 budget. That's you know, that's not the upcoming budget. That's the existing budget. So that doesn't really count. But I'm thinking, you know, the new budget that, you know, starts in July, you know, what are your thoughts and Amy's thoughts on what it is that you've requested of Jean Delio's that the executive, I keep saying executive, that the Elder and Human Services needs? Is it an increase? Is it a decrease? Is it for space? Is it, you know, what were your ideas that you presented to Jean?
Well, we're again, you don't really want to hear about recalc, but recalc is as we learn and make decisions from that. It's probably not in the next budget cycle. It's probably the one after. And that's, you know, as we learn and again, hopefully come out of the pandemic, we can do a lot more. But if we get more space, third-party space, we're going to have to man it. And at this point, we don't know how that's going to be done.
If there's something I could just, if I could just, you know, something Mark touched on a little bit, and Kevin is too, talking about the if we have additional space. It seems to me, if I remember this correctly, was talked about this afternoon, the town has approached Walgreens several times about obtaining that space. And it seems to me somebody went on and said that they were talking about having Markey and Warren step into this fray. And if somehow that space became available and it could be used by programs for the Pleasant Street Center presently has, those buildings are basically diagonally across the street. Now, I know it would increase somewhat the staff, but where the buildings are that close, it may not be that much of a burden to increase staff. Am I totally out to lunch on that type of thinking, or what, Kevin and Mark?
To be honest, I do not know. I mean, you know, anytime before I came to Reading, I was in a small business, and whenever as we grew, we needed to get more space, and space is one big empty room. You have to build out space to be able to use it. So there's an awful lot of considerations into going into somewhere else that may not necessarily be built out with heat and with carpet or linoleum or walls and lights. There's a lot to it.
And I
So
think,
Kevin, it sounds, sorry, Mark. It sounds like the next year's budget then is basically going to be status quo. It's going to be more of the same. That's kind of what I'm thinking you're saying.
For next year, it is, and we can look at it again growing as we come out of this thing.
I think there's an expectation that whether it's recalc or which it will be recalc, but also other things, by November next year, November town meeting, should be some concrete proposals about needs and suggestions on how to accommodate the needs. Space, programs, people, whatever you guys want to put kind of on the plate. But recalc's mission is kind of to do the outreach to the community, the outreach to the council, kind of understand what we need. And then it's a discussion of, oh, okay, is there space? Can we take that space that the library used that's down at Market Basket Plaza? Can we bring pressure on Walgreens corporate to stop holding that building empty and figure out, hey, can we borrow it for a year? Whatever it happens to be. The select board is looking at all the open space in town, all the large open spaces in town, with a desire to have a plan for the spaces. What are you thinking of putting there? What can it be? What stuff should we keep? Is there anything we should sell and get rid of? This Oakland Road is an interesting spot. We actually know what is buildable on that lot right across the street from the high school. We know how much space there is. That might be able to accommodate some needs. So there's kind of this, it's almost like a horse race going on right now. People who want to use the land, people that want to figure out the needs, it'd be great if we could bring them together and figure out what's right. We may not need land as it relates to what we're talking about here, right? There may already be stuff there or not. Maybe we do need land. I had I still think a really interesting idea, and sorry, Amy, I'll speak way out of school here. Somebody had said, hey, if there is a new center that gets developed, the Pleasant Street Center is a really interesting property, could become a restaurant or something if you really had this wonderful center that gets created.
We've heard a few times people have said that.
Generates revenue, which would fund more than just kind of, if community feedback comes back saying, oh my gosh, you want to spend this tremendous amount of money, well, maybe you've got a revenue source that funds part of it. And again, it's way too early for that, but that's the kind of thinking that has to take place.
So I understand what you're saying, Mark, but going back to something that Marilyn said earlier in terms of short term, that will mean the town meeting doesn't meet till November. And if anything, things will start to happen a year from now in this fiscal year. So that just leaves a good 6 months where it's the status quo. We are not going to be, it's going to be the same number of people. So it's just, it's what I'm hearing the town say is wait a year. You can't really do anything now until we have all the data, even though we've delayed getting all the data for a couple of years. And, nothing is going to happen in July, August, September, October, November, December of next year, because we're not budgeting additional money for additional staff or because you don't have the numbers to support it. But we're not going to send out the
I'm looking at G's budget right now. There are 7.5 additional hours per week that are added to the budget between EHS admin and senior center coordinator. That's the presentation that I have right now.
And is that adding it, Mark, or is that just staffing?
Those are adds. That's additional from what's budgeted.
Well, we were budgeted to have all those positions filled, right?
Yes,
yeah, but
this is on top of it.
So you're saying
this is so assuming for a moment we were full staffed today to everything that's in the budget. If we were, then the proposal that I'm seeing has EHS admin 2.5 hours a week increase to full time, and coordinator increases from 20 to 25 hours. That's what I see right now. Those are the two specifics, and I don't see
anything else.
And do we really believe, and I guess this question is for Amy and for Kevin, that just 7.5 hours extra is going to relieve the extreme pressure you're under right now? I mean, we have to assume the pandemic's going to go on for at least 12 months, I think. If it's less, great. But it's certainly no indication right now that things are going to get much easier. Maybe a little in the summer, it'll probably resurge again. But is 7.5 hours going to make the difference to have the Pleasant Street Center not be in a near crisis stage?
And that we can't advertise the other services that.
That's on the agenda, and that's on the agenda in February. We haven't thrown that out the window, Nancy. I wouldn't consider us in crisis mode right now.
No, I wouldn't.
But I do expect things to get better. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think any 7 hours.
Any relief is going to allow people to be able to take time off, recharge the batteries. All that stuff makes a difference.
Yeah.
And when people have recharged batteries, they're better at work.
It's true.
Amen.
And there just has been there has not been any time to recover during this pandemic. And again, I invite every one of you to come to the Pleasant Street Center for a day in our life.
I don't think anyone's doubting that, Kevin. What we're questioning is why, when the money's there, we don't alleviate that now. And I know you haven't got the answer to that. But that's the real question. The budget was there. This is a self-created state of exhaustion to the extent that we've been understaffing intentionally for over 2 years. And I just don't get it. So anyway, any further discussion on the budget? No. The last one was, and Nancy, maybe you'd like to speak to this, although I'm certainly on. No, it's not that. We've got 2 more. Wow. We thought this would be a short meeting. Nancy actually proposed, and I thought it was a great idea, so we put it on the agenda. The survey we did at the beginning of the pandemic, we did it on SurveyMonkey, and I think a couple of other things.
Yeah. Can I suggest we include that in the discussion in February?
Okay.
Because there's not too much we can do about it tonight.
Okay. I'm on board.
That was talked a little bit about today at the recount meeting, about SurveyMonkey and doing.
Well, we've got a survey already for you guys.
All right. But it does get back to this cycle. I mean, Mark, it's just common sense. Of course, we need to be able to document. We've got a need. But as long as we keep not doing outreach and not doing surveys in the short term, it's hard to come up with those cases, and it's not very fair to the Pleasant Street Center. But anyway.
If I could comment, Marilyn, I agreed. I think that there are a lot of things that are starting to get into motion, and there's a desire to kind of get everything into motion all at once.
Yeah.
And coordinating that, kind of, lining things up, I think will make a big difference in terms of getting more done, as opposed to kind of just confusing action with progress.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Last item, trust fund request for January and February. What would you like to request funds for from the Council on Aging? We don't meet next month, so I don't want you to be short on funds that we could give you.
Thank you. I had met with Kelly, and then had mentioned to Kevin one of the challenges that Kelly had not even challenge, I won't use that word. It's tax season. So we're doing it, I guess, the AARP, we do taxes. And even though last year it wasn't, I guess it was kind of drive-by, I'm not wording this correctly, but we think we're going to be doing it the same way this year. So that's going to take a little time because Kelly last year was in the receptionist position. This year she's not. We don't have anyone, so we need to figure out the process with that. But so that's my sidebar. We were thinking of doing the drive-bys, seem to be very popular. We were looking to do something, maybe a drive-by around Valentine's Day. We never had a chance to really make a solid decision on it. So I'm trying to be realistic.
I think we did a drive-by last Valentine's Day. I think we included carnations and a box of chocolates and a few other goodies.
I love that idea.
Yeah, so I think we can do something like that again. And I think it was about $1,500. It wasn't that much for that.
Yeah, that would be great. And then we can put, I could even bring up last year, the budget, and see, and if we could request something like that, that would be great. We can make it work.
Do you want to put in a request for that funding tonight? It's just, when are we meeting in February?
Probably put it in tonight, right? Because we
Okay.
don't meet in January.
Right. And we can always call a special meeting if we need to, but that involves getting people together.
Yeah, that's not
ideal, but we
Yeah.
certainly could do it if we have to. Do you have a proposal you'd like us to consider?
If it was, I'm going to go by what Kevin had mentioned. So I'm going to look up what we did last year, but if you think it's 1,500, could we just duplicate that? Or do you think with the pay increase, with the inflation, we should ask for a little more, try to see if we can add something else?
Why don't you ask for 2,000, Amy?
Okay, if I could add, that makes sense, Joan. Thank you. Yeah. So 2,000, and we can, I can work over, I can get you a better update and be more specific. Then I'll talk to Kelly about it.
I think what we could do is have a motion that said up to 2,000, and I think we could handle it that way.
Okay.
So I make a motion to appropriate up to $2,000 for the Valentine's drive-by for the senior center.
Thank you, Karen.
I second it.
And what fund is this coming from?
We can do it out of Burbank.
Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
Then let me call the roll. Joan Coco.
Yes.
Karen Fortino.
Yes.
John Parsons.
Yes.
Karen Panett.
Yes.
Sandy
No.
Schaefer. Pardon me?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Sandy Schaefer.
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley, yes. Debbie Small
Yes.
and Nancy Zimlack.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll make it fun.
Our pleasure. The only other question I had was just, and I asked about this, but Amy said, Kevin, she was going to let you speak to it. Have we had any, I understand that John has followed up with Brenda Cashman and forward her written resignation from the board that she never knew she joined.
Yes.
We can finally get that cleared up. And Sally Hoyt, did you have a chance to reach out?
I did. I went back and forth with emails with Sally. She said she would like to stay on as a full member.
Okay.
But I recommended you can still stay on as associate. I will mail you the packet each month. We still value your, thoughts and comments. But that way, if she's an associate, it'll give us an opportunity to bring a full member on board. Somebody that can attend all the meetings.
Sally used to have somebody drive her too, Kevin. So I don't think she has anybody anymore.
No.
Jolene used to help her out with the computer and drive.
Yeah, but she's not doing it and everything.
No, but she's willing to go to an associate, and it will open up a space for a.
Does she realize that's a whole process, though?
Yep, I told her I'd help her through it.
Okay.
So Marilyn, if you folks have candidates in mind that you would like to have them apply. And then the volunteer appointment subcommittee can meet and make an appointment.
I think at the moment we have just one associate member. Is that true? Jackie, I think. Oh, Jolene is, but she had just stepped down from member to associate. And I think just Jackie. So Jackie, if you're interested, if you'd let us know, and if you're interested in becoming a member so that Mark's committee could look at it.
I'm probably not at this time, but.
Okay. then we need to do some recruitment then for some more people.
Could I ask Amy a question before we,
Can
we
Amy
adjourn?
put something in the pleasantries about that, Marilyn?
Amy, can you put something in the pleasantries about that?
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely do that. And
That would be
John,
great.
you can ask me any question you want, John.
Usually you're looking for volunteers for, delivering the Christmas meals. I'm going to be in California, but I didn't know if you wanted to put that out to people on, who are on the screen right now, if you're looking for them.
Oh, thank you. You mean to give out the meals from Christopher's?
The meals from Christopher's, right?
I think Carrie has been handling that. I think Kevin, I threw it out today and I had quickly talked to her, but I think she's all set. But
Good.
yeah, I think we're good right now. But knock on wood, maybe a couple on backup. Thank you for offering. And I don't know if anyone, it's next. Is it next week, Kevin?
23rd, I believe.
Yeah, next Wednesday. And she was going to call Christopher's tomorrow. I think we have around 22. So 22?
Do we have any volunteers to help on the 23rd if extra hands are needed to help deliver? I'm working, unfortunately, so I
As
can't.
I said, I'm in California.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. You're off the hook. You helped for everything. We appreciate that. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, Joan. I'll let you know, and I'll let Carrie know as well.
Amy, reach out to me as well, please.
Thank you, Mark. Will do.
My plans, but I can make some time.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll let Carrie know too.
I can help out as well.
Was
Debbie
that Karen?
Small.
Debbie.
Debbie
Hi, Debbie.
Small.
Sorry. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate this. I'm going to write all these names down. And I'll let Carrie know as well.
What time is it scheduled for?
I think
Usually around 12 o'clock, usually around noon.
I think it is around noon. Carrie,
That's when we did the Thanksgiving ones.
Yeah, I think it is around noon. And I'm gonna pass her along the names. So we have John.
Folks, I apologize. I need to jump to another meeting. Sorry.
Thank you
so much, Mark.
And thank you for the great news about recalc. It's very exciting.
I
know.
Have a happy holiday.
Right, thank you, Mark.
Holidays to everybody.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And
Bye-bye.
if we don't have anything else, I think we can adjourn too. Do we have a motion? Is there anything else that anyone wants to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait a minute. Nancy wanted to discuss something.
I just wanted to know Kevin's dog's name.
Oh, that's Tilly.
Isn't she so cute, Tilly? Can she come to all the meetings? Bring her to bring her to Pleasant Street Center. I want to make her a mascot.
No, I wish she was that calm. She's not that calm.
Sorry to interrupt.
Dogs make it better.
All right, so again, motion to adjourn.
I thought we seconded it already.
I didn't hear it.
I second.
I did too.
All right, take the roll. Hang on. Got to have a roll call for the motion. Joan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
John Parsons.
Yes.
Karen Panett.
Yes.
Cindy Schaefer.
Yes.
Marilyn Shapley. Yes. Debbie Small.
Yes.
And Nancy Zimlick.
Yes.
All right. Happy holidays to
Happy
everyone.
holidays. Be
Happy
safe,
holidays,
everyone.
everyone.
I
Thank
just
you
wanna
so
be
much for
safe.
everything. Have a
If
wonderful
you're gonna
holiday.
Just add one
Thank
thing. I
you.
really appreciate everyone's input. There was a time when this council was pretty quiet and not much got discussed at any length. And while we're making baby steps forward, it's really exciting to see people engaging. And we really appreciate everybody's opinions in sorting out really hard issues. And I know the Pleasant Street Center is doing everything it can. I don't mean to be sounding like I'm on the attack. I'm just so frustrated.
No,
You know, I won't go down that cycle
Not a
again.
problem.
No.
So
Thank you for all you do, Marilyn, and
you.
everyone. We really appreciate it. We appreciate each of you.
Well, happy holidays, everybody.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy holidays.